Welcome everyone. This is Laura with SeeMyBeach.com, and we are live at the Island here at the Island Mercantile at North Beach Restaurant and Shops. And this is Addison. She's going to start our show today.
Let the show begin.
Thank you, Addison. And it's very great to have you on the show today.
Thank you very much.
Please introduce yourself to our viewers.
Well, thank you for having me. My name is Dr. Derek Burkholder. I'm a research scientist at Nova Southeastern University and director of the Marine Environmental Education Center at the Carpenter House, which I think we're going to be talking about a little bit tonight.
Yes. I actually grew up only a few miles away from the Carpenter House, and I recall not knowing about it for a really long time. So can you tell us a little bit about how it came about and how long you've been there and what we can expect to see from it in the future?
Absolutely. So the Carpenter House has been a fixture in Hollywood since 1941. The home, it's a historic home built in 1941. But the Marine Environmental Education Center came online in 2017. So we opened the doors in March. The center is a partnership between Broward County Parks Department and Nova Southeastern University. So the parks purchased this beautiful home from the Carpenter family, and they did a beautiful renovation restoration on the property, and then partnered up with Nova, and we came in and we have developed the education center that you see there today.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
And what types of things can one see at the Carpenter House when it reopens?
Yeah, so when we reopen, which we're hoping to do very soon, we focus on anything really marine related. So we've got exhibits ranging from the biology of sea turtles to things like shark and turtle tracking, from some of the research going on at Nova. We've got coral reef exhibits, and then the star of our show is Captain, the green sea turtle. So yes. Captain, which we'll meet, is a green turtle that was hit by a boat about 10 years ago, and unfortunately due to those injuries she was rehabbed, and she came through that very well. She's healed up nicely, but unfortunately due to her injuries she can't be released back into the wild, and so she is a wonderful ambassador for us to teach people about the marine environment and especially about sea turtles.
And I know I've actually been to the Carpenter House for some programming that they had a couple of years ago, a fascinating talk from a marine biologist that I'm sure you're very familiar with.
Yeah.
And I got to visit with Captain, and it's interesting, she actually has to wear a little backpack, right, to like weight her down?
Exactly, yeah, and that's the reason that we call her a non-releasable turtle. So in many cases there are some phenomenal rehab centers around the state that will bring in injured animals. If they can heal them up, they do, and then they'll send them back out into the wild again. Unfortunately for some animals like Captain, and a lot of times when they have boat strike injuries like she does, what happens is as they heal, they get air trapped underneath the shell or throughout their tissues, and so when they're all healed up, everything else is good, but they float, and so they have what we call the bubble butt syndrome. And so unfortunately she's a floater, and so because of that she has to have weights on her back. So when she first came to us in 2017, she had a couple weights that were glued onto her shell, and those were great, but she found ways to knock them off pretty regularly, and so unfortunately we had to kind of mix it up a little bit, and now we've got some nice accessories for her. She wears a backpack, and in that backpack she carries those weights so that it allows her to sit perfectly level in the water. She doesn't have to fight to stay at the bottom, and that's why we can't release her, because if she does go out into the wild without that backpack, she would spend most of her time floating at the surface, where of course she'd be exposed to more boats, maybe get hit again, and also not be able to eat and be down on the bottom where she needs to be quite as easily.
As a boater, I'm actually very new to boating, so can you share with us a little bit on how you can avoid damaging sea turtles and hurting them as a boater?
Yeah, so there's lots of things you can do to not injure sea turtles and many other things in the oceans. The biggest one is just to pay attention. One of the issues that sea turtles face is they come to the surface to breathe, and so a lot. They can hold their breath for a long time, If they're resting, they might stay down for a couple of hours, but they always have to come back up and fill those lungs at the surface. And so when they do that, that's when they're obviously at risk from the boats. And so the biggest thing as a boater is to, maintain your speed a little bit. Don't go too crazy out there. And make sure you're paying attention. Always watch ahead of you. Make sure there's nothing popping up, because they can pop up very close.
I see them very frequently.
Absolutely.
They're
So you
definitely
just
out
have to
there.
be aware and make sure you can maneuver around them when you see them.
And if someone were to come across maybe one in the wild, either on land and sea, what should one do?
That has been injured, or
Yes.
yeah. So I'm also involved with the Broward County Sea Turtle Conservation Program. That's also through NOVA. That program monitors all the sea turtle nesting in Broward County. So we have ATVs that drive up and down the beach every day from March 1st through the end of October. And we host a 24-hour-a-day, 365-day-a-year sea turtle hotline. And that is, if you see any sick, dead, injured sea turtle, you can call us up. That number is 954-328-0580. And like I said, that's 24/7, 365 days a year. If you see any of these animals, you call us
Land
up.
and sea?
On land or sea, yep, for a sea turtle. Because a lot of times when they are injured, just like with Captain, she actually washed up on a beach and was found there and taken to a rehab center. And that's what happens a lot when they are injured. They'll get washed up on the beach. So whether you see them at sea or on land, call us up and we'll respond to it. If it's a live animal, we will deal with it as quickly as possible and take it to one of those fantastic rehab centers that we talked about before.
Okay, cool. And if you were to come across a nest that has babies emerging and they're going in the wrong direction, what does one do in that point? At that point?
Great question. So yeah, one of the issues that sea turtles face, both the moms and the babies, is that they are, usually nesting happens at night. So the moms come up during the night, crawl their way up on the beach, dig their nest, lay their eggs, and then head back to the water. What usually guides them is supposed to be the sun and moon reflecting off the water. That should be the brightest horizon to take them back to the ocean. And the same thing for those babies. When they come out of the ground, they're looking for that bright horizon to take them down to the water. Unfortunately, street lights, or maybe the lights in your living room or something like that, will be a brighter moon the wrong direction, and that's why we have animals that will disorient and go the wrong way. So for those, usually what we want to do, again, we'll respond to those kind of incidents
Not
as well.
supposed to touch them.
Not supposed to touch them. Absolutely. They are an endangered species. There are actually 7 species of sea turtles around the world, all of which are threatened or endangered. And so we are, that's one of the reasons that we have so many different programs trying to help both protect the injured ones, but also monitor the nesting behaviors, study their movements, and all these things to try to help protect them a little bit in the wild.
Wow. And so overall, I know that there's been tons of conservation efforts here. I know personally when I'm on the beach, especially in the summer months, it seems like these nests are everywhere. How are the sea turtles actually doing?
Great question. So like I said, they all are either threatened or endangered worldwide. But we are seeing some positive things, especially in the last 20 years or so. So the Broward County program has been monitoring the nests in Broward for over 30 years. And so we've got a great track history of what's been going on. And we are seeing rising numbers of nests, which is fantastic to see.
Yeah.
There are, like I said, there are 7 species worldwide. We get 5 of those in Florida. And 3 of those
Wow.
species actually nest on our beaches here in South Florida. And so the main one we get are the loggerhead sea turtles. We also get some green sea turtles, and then the lowest number of nesters are the leatherbacks, which are actually the biggest ones out there. And we do get a few of those as well, so it's pretty interesting to see
I've
that.
one of those in real life, and I've always been fascinated to feel what they feel like. What does a leatherback sea turtle feel like?
That's a great question. It does feel much like its name. It feels sort of leathery. The leatherback is actually the only species alive today that doesn't have that hard bony shell that you would think of a turtle. So all the other 6 species are what we call the hard shell turtles. The leatherbacks, it feels very much like leather. It's sort of smooth, soft, and the reason for that is leatherbacks can dive to very, very deep depths, thousands of meters, where they'll go down, thousands of feet, dive down, and they're looking for big jellyfish, which is one of their main parts of their diet. And so to do that, that soft shell actually allows their body to compress, to shrink as they go deep in the water to deal with those crazy pressures that are deep down in the ocean.
Otherwise, a normal shell would just implode at one point.
There's a lot of things that would happen at those depths, and so it is one way that they're able to dive to these very, very deep depths and come back up to see what's going on.
Is their lung capacity greater than that of the green and the loggerheads?
They are bigger animals, so they do have pretty good lung capacity, but they've actually got some pretty cool abilities where they can actually take in a breath of air and actually push a lot of the oxygen into their bloodstream, and then they'll actually exhale, and so they use that oxygen in their bloodstream so that they don't actually have to fight all that air, the buoyancy from the air that's trying to keep them floating.
Wow.
They can get rid of that so they can dive a little bit easier, go down for their dive and come back up and take another breath. So they're pretty amazing animals.
I'm really glad I asked that question. That's a very scientific little system they've
Yes,
got there.
absolutely.
Awesome. We're going to take a little break right now, but we'll be back soon live at the Island Mercantile.
Hey guys, Rick with SeeMyBeach.com. We're here today at the Island Mercantile, and we're on the set of Live at the Island. I'm here with Janetta from Janetta's Vendetta. How you doing today?
Hey everybody, I'm doing great. It's another beautiful day in South Florida.
Yeah, we all live in paradise, right?
Yes, we do. It's
And that's why
perfect.
we're on the set of the island right here.
Right here at the Mercantile.
Very cool. Well, look, we're here today to let people know what's going to happen on October 29th. Tell everybody what that is.
Okay, well the exciting thing is I'm going to be here and doing a live show.
That's right.
And that entails me maybe with some backing tracks, unless I can talk one of my boys to come in here. And then you can hear me play a little bit, and also Rick is going to interview me, and I'm going to regale y'all with tales of my adventures here and abroad, and my live streams, and all of my musical shenanigans.
Nice. Well, you know, one of the first things I was talking to someone down the street, and I said, Janetta's going to be on our show, and they said, well, she's a real musician.
Oh my goodness.
That's right. It was a high compliment.
Thank
Absolutely.
you, Rick. Well, let me tell you something. Being from New York City and having a band for over a quarter of a century, mind you.
Right.
In New York City, you don't have any hacks. You cannot be a hack because this is the big time.
You get run out of the
That's
town,
right.
huh?
And I've been paying my rent and supporting a whole band and maintaining my cottage industry as Janetta's Vendetta for many years. So you really have to try to be the best, and also use only the best as well.
That's right. And here on Live at the Island, we only have the real people on.
That's
and
right.
you're real, Janetta. So,
Thank you.
All right. Hey, why don't you give everybody a little taste of what we're going to see on the 29th?
Well, I'm just going to play.
Just a quick one.
I forgot to mention, I am a jazz ambassador by trade. I'm playing a pocket trumpet. So all of my music is America's greatest export, which is what I call jazz. And I am so happy to be an ambassador of jazz, both here in New York City and around the world at various United States and American embassies.
That's fantastic. Well, we need people who are good ambassadors, and you are a great one.
Thank you, Rick.
October 29th, you get to hear me do a little quick interview with her. It won't be a quick interview because me and Janetta, we just talk back and forth. It's
Yeah, we
never
got a
quick.
bunch of time.
We got to talk, man. So we'll go back and forth with some stuff with her, and then she'll play some music in between. So it should be a great night. And we want you to wear some of the merchandise from here. So how about that? We come in a little early and get some clothing.
Represent the wonderful proprietor and her husband. Who
Absolutely.
Have some beautiful stuff, and believe me, I'm going to be wearing it. And who better to?
You're gonna be bringing it.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna be bringing it. Yep, we're right here, and that's Brian and Michelle. They're the owners
That's
here.
it, Brian and Michelle, that's
Absolutely.
correct.
And Addison owns part of it. She's 8 years
Addison.
old and she's adorable.
Hopefully, she'll make a little guest appearance.
You know what? She opens every show with the Clapperboard.
Good.
So she'll be opening your show. All right, guys.
looking forward to it.
Right here, live at the Island Mercantile. It's islandmercantileusa.com. And SeeMyBeach.com. I'll be here representing us. You take care, and we'll talk to you soon. See you on the 29th.
Peace out, y'all.
Peace, babe.
We are back at Live at the Island, here at the Island Mercantile in North Beach, restaurants and shops. And we are here with Derek Burkholder, who, your title is a little bit overwhelming for me. Tell me again who you are.
Sure. I can give you all the titles if you want, but it is.
Sure, let's go.
So I'm Derek Burkholder. I'm a research scientist at Nova Southeastern University. I am director of the Broward County Sea Turtle Conservation Program, director of the Marine Environmental Education Center at the Carpenter House, and I also work with the Guy Harvey Research Institute at NOVA.
Okay, awesome. Tell me a little bit more about the Carpenter House. I was lucky enough to visit it pre-pandemic, and it was an amazing experience. I've always had a thing for sea turtles. And surprisingly enough, as a local, I didn't really know it was there for quite some time.
Yeah, so we hear that a lot, which is why we're very excited to be here. I'm very excited to be here tonight to talk a little bit about the Carpenter House. So, you know, pre-pandemic, we were open to the public 5 days a week. We are kind of a little bit off the beaten path. We are located in Hollywood on Surf Road. And so it's just a little bit north of the Broadwalk there in Hollywood. So if you are on your bike and things like that, we do get a lot of foot traffic that comes, you know, from the Broadwalk and makes their way up our way. But we're a great location. We're right on the beach, which is also nice. One of our big parts of the Carpenter House is sort of our education programming. And so we not only do that for our, day-to-day visitors that come in, that get our walk-in traffic that can come. We've got an exhibit hall in the family's old beach house where they have a little beach cabana kind of thing, and we've used that to highlight a lot of the sort of the educational exhibits that we've put together. We do talk about some of those sea turtle friendly lighting and some of our exhibits outside in sort of the back courtyard. And then obviously we do have Captain's swimming pool, which used to be the family's in-ground swimming pool that we converted into Captain's home. And so we've got that outside, and then once you get in the main house, that's our main classroom space. And so in the family's old living room, they had sort of a wall-to-wall bookshelf on one of the walls, and we've turned that into, again, a nice display space where we have many of the shells and skulls of different sea turtles and sharks and different things like that that we have on display that we use for our education programming. And so
I love that house. I like historic homes. It felt like a sea captain's home.
Absolutely, yeah. It's all wood, floor, ceiling, walls, and so it is definitely a beautiful, beautiful home. We're very, very lucky to have that space to be able to kind of bring to the public and also to use, for our classroom. So it's been a lot of fun. We do bring in school groups when we're open, and for those we have sort of programs that are developed around everything from sea turtles to sharks, marine mammals, and even things like marine debris. What do you need to do to keep those plastics and those things out of the ocean that we deal with so often? Sort of part of that, we also do a lot of beach cleanups. Last week we had a fantastic cleanup. We had about 350 people come out, and we were able to pull almost 900 pounds of trash off the beach in about 4 hours. So it was fantastic. Scary that you can do that in 4 hours. But it was a great turnout. It was so wonderful to actually have people at the center again and enjoying the space and enjoying Captain as well. So.
And in the meantime, you mentioned that you travel to the schools now?
Yeah, so we are still offering virtual programming, and like I said, we are hoping to be open very soon to the public again. But in the meantime, we offer virtual programming to schools, individuals, homeschool groups, anything like that. Where we can, come in over Zoom or something like that and give a presentation. We've done dissections over Zoom where we can, dissect a lionfish and things like that, which are a lot of fun and a little bit more kind of interactive visuals. But we also are able to, if schools are welcoming guests into their classrooms, we can come and give presentations, maybe bring some of those shells that we were just talking about to talk about, some of the things that we offer at the center when we're open.
I'm curious to know, what is your personal favorite marine animal?
Ooh, that's tough. So in addition to the sea turtles, which I do a lot of research with, I also research sharks, and so I've spent a lot of time. I think one of my favorites has got to be the tiger shark, just because that's an animal that I spent a lot of time working with for my PhD research. I was lucky enough to travel to Australia for about 6 months a year. Absolutely not. We do, but
ferocious.
Absolutely not. Tiger sharks are puppy dogs. They are one of the best things out there. They're fantastic. We actually do work with a lot of sharks right here locally, where we're catching them, tagging, releasing. That's actually a program that we offer to the public as well, where we actually will take school groups out with us, or if you have a group that's interested, we'll actually take you out on the boat with our research team. You're going to help bait the hooks, set the hooks, set all the gear. We pull the sharks in. This is all by hand. We don't have any rod and reel or anything like that, so we pull those sharks in, get them to the back of the boat, and there we're going to measure them, take tissue samples, take lots of cool pictures, and then send them on their way. We would love to have you.
Rick, that's our next show.
You guys will pretend to be a school kid.
That will be
Absolutely.
amazing. I'll put on some
We need to do
glasses,
it.
overalls.
We'll do it behind the scenes of one of your trips. How about that?
Perfect.
And you can be the host.
Awesome. Well, that's really exciting.
So yeah, that is another very very fun educational experience that we do offer through Nova Southeastern University.
Fantastic. I'll have to investigate what it takes to get on that boat. That sounds really fun. I've always wanted to catch a shark.
They're fun.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. Yeah, I need a special belt or something, right?
Nah, just go like this. Pull them in by hand.
Oh! Gloves? Gloves?
Yeah, you get gloves.
Okay,
We'll give you
I'll bring
gloves.
some gloves. And you mentioned these beach cleanups. When do they typically happen? Do you happen to know when the next one is? We can tell our viewers.
We don't have one on the schedule right now, but we do a couple of different things. Some we will schedule in advance, like this last one was International Coastal Cleanup Day, so that was why it was a much bigger event.
September 17th, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's my birthday.
All right. Well, happy birthday.
Now I know what the day of my birthday is.
So we will do some of those larger events like that, but we also will, if people want to do just a beach cleanup, we have all the equipment, all the, everything around where we can host those very easily. We don't have any on the schedule right now, but if you follow the Marine Environmental Education Center, Facebook, Instagram, all those kinds of things, we will post all that very often on our social media.
And we're going to take one more break now at Live at the Island with Dr. Derek, Sea Turtle Master. And we're back here at Live at the Island Mercantile. I just want to mention, anything in this store would definitely fit in my closet and on me. I am so distracted when I'm here by all of the shiny and colorful things. You really created a beautiful place here. And I'm really comfortable with having the show here, this relaxing environment. It's just a really fabulous place. So if you're ever in the neighborhood, or actually, if you're not, you should even check out the whole neighborhood, because I personally want to spend way more time here. It is a very small town feel. It's a nice mix of commercialized things and a lot of mom and pop businesses here, and I just love it. And the beach is right there. You can't beat that. We're going to go ahead and close the show. Thank you so much, Dr. Derek, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And tomorrow we actually have a pretty fabulous adventure planned with Addyson. You want to come join us? Addison, where are we going tomorrow?
The Carpenter House.
Yes, we're going to actually bring you guys to the Carpenter House so you can see it before it opens back up to the public. And what are you most excited about?
Seeing the turtle.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're really excited to have you come visit tomorrow. We're going to give you a full tour, even a behind-the-scenes tour, so you can see everything from our exhibits to how we get Captain's food ready every day. And then we're actually probably going to give Captain her breakfast while you guys are there as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
Definitely.
What's Captain's favorite food?
Well, Captain, as a green sea turtle, gets lots of greenery. So she gets lettuce, green peppers, cucumbers, and so. But I think lettuce is usually her favorite.
All right, note taken. Thank you so much for joining us here at Live at the Island Mercantile. We'll see you next week. This was episode 4, and episode 5 will be next Friday at 7 p.m.
Hi guys, I'm Addyson with KidZone on SeeMyBeach.com. Today I'm going to take you on a really cool adventure. We're at the Carpenter House in Hollywood, Florida. The Carpenter House is the home of an adorable green sea turtle named Captain. And I'm about to take you on a private tour with the director, Dr. Derek Burkholder.
Hello, Addison.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Great today, thank you. Good to see you this morning, Addison. Today, we're gonna go on a tour of the Carpenter House. I'm gonna show you our exhibit hall. We're gonna go inside the historic home and go see our classroom. And then we're gonna go see Captain and do a behind the scenes tour so you can see how we get her food ready, and we're actually gonna give her breakfast as well. You excited?
Yes, I'm very excited.
All right, let's go. All right, Addison, so we're gonna start off. This is sort of the entrance into the Carpenter House. We just saw that beautiful mural behind us. And this is our visitor center, our welcome center, and our gift shop. So people start there, and then we're gonna go right through this gate. Come on with me, and we're gonna go into the backyard where it all starts. All right, so now we're in the backyard. This was the family's courtyard, and it's a beautiful backyard, and we're actually gonna go into their old beach house. So this was the place where they would come off the beach, they'd hang out in there, they've got a nice little fireplace, place to take a shower, and they would hang out there before going back in the house. But this is our education center and our exhibit hall. So we're gonna go in there, we're gonna learn about some sea turtles, some sharks, coral reefs, and even marine debris. All right, let's go. Come on in. All right, let's go inside. Pretty cool. So this is our exhibit hall. So this, we have a lot of different information about sea turtles, how they nest. We can see a little bit about lionfish. Do you know anything about lionfish?
A little.
A little bit? Yeah, so lionfish, we have a lot of them out here, unfortunately now. They're what we call an invasive species. They're not supposed to be here, but unfortunately people let them out of their aquariums, and they've done very well here, and we have a lot of them out here now, but they eat kind of everything, and they grow really fast. And so we've got some great research going on at Nova Southeastern University to learn about the lionfish and what impacts they're having here in Florida. We also do a lot of work with corals. So, you know, we have beautiful coral reefs in South Florida. And with NSU, they're actually growing corals. They take little tiny pieces and they can grow new corals from even a little tiny piece like this. Then they take them back out on the reef, and they can make the reef nice and healthy and happy, even in places that maybe were damaged or got sick earlier. So it's a great program where we've got this nursery and are actually growing corals out in the water. Pretty cool, huh?
Yes.
All right. So one of the things that we love to talk about here at the Marine Environmental Education Center is things like marine debris. And you know, we had a great beach cleanup last week. And the reason we want to do that is because this trash and these plastics and things, these are going to last for thousands of years, some of them. This little plastic bottle right here will be here for thousands of years if we don't pick it up and take it and put it in the garbage where it's supposed to be. So we're very lucky, and we get to work with a lot of great people. And this is Lisa Maselli with Stoked on Salt, made us this beautiful sculpture. Everything on here was picked up right there on Fort Lauderdale and Hollywood beaches. All right, this is all trash that was picked up on the beach, and she made this beautiful sculpture. We got Captain here. We've got little bobbers and trucks and things, all that she's found on the beach there to make this beautiful artwork. All right, so now we're going to move right on down here. And one of my favorite things is learning about some of these animals here in Florida. So one of the things that we do is we study sharks and sea turtles and other animals. And one of the things we want to know is where do they go? And so to do that, we can actually follow them with this little guy right here. That's called a satellite tag, okay? So we're going to actually put this on the fin of a shark. So right there you can see in this picture, but on this big tiger shark here, one of my favorites, it would go right on this fin. And then anytime this antenna comes up out of the water, if that shark comes up to the top of the water, this is going to ping a satellite and tell us where that shark is anywhere in the world. Wow. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
We do the same thing with sea turtles, and we catch our sea turtles on the beaches when they're coming up to nest. So we wait till they lay their nest, And then when they're going back to the water, we can, get next to them. We put a little box around them so that we can hold them for just a short period of time, put that tag on, and send them on their way. And we can learn where they're going. They might travel from Florida all the way down to Mexico, and then back towards Florida again. So we can see these really cool movements and where they're going as they're living their life after they leave here off the beaches. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So, as we move over here, here we're going to talk a little bit more about that beach that we have right here behind us at the Carpenter House. And this is one of those really important nesting beaches that we have here in Florida. So we all love sea turtles, right? They're pretty cool animals. Yeah, well, Florida is an amazing place because they come here and they lay their eggs. So the mom will crawl up on the beach. They're going to dig a big hole, which is what we see right here. So the mom digs down with her flippers. She uses her rear flippers to dig down like little hands, digs this hole all the way down. Then she's going to put all of her eggs down in the bottom, all right? Then she'll pile the sand back on there and she'll head back to the water. Those eggs will sit there for a couple of months, and then when they hatch, all those little baby turtles will wiggle and wobble together, and the sand will come from above them, go underneath, and it's like a little sand elevator. They're going to move from all the way down here, all the way up to the surface, and then they're all going to come out after dark, and they're going to head right down to the water and head out on their way. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
So we see all these little hatchlings here. So we get thousands of nests here in Florida, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands over the course of the year. And so it's a really, really important place for these sea turtles to come. Pretty cool. One of our last exhibits here in the education exhibit hall is talking again about sea turtles, but one of the ways that we are trying to help them, and this is something called a turtle excluder device, or a TED, okay? So a TED is actually, one of the ways that we catch shrimp and other fish is we use great big nets that we pull behind a boat. So we've got this boat here, this is called a trawler. It's gonna pull this great big net behind it, and a lot of times those fish and the shrimp and stuff will get caught in the net, and that's how we get our dinner. Unfortunately, sometimes sea turtles can get in that net as well, but like we talked about the other day, sea turtles have to come up to the top to breathe, right? So if they get stuck in that net, they can maybe not do so well. So a turtle excluder device is something that is a big metal grate, so we see that kind of in the back of the net, and what happens, the turtle will come into the net, hit that grate, and get kicked out a little trap door that all the fish can't find, but it lets that turtle get out of the net and swim up to safety. All right? So that's been really good to help protect our sea turtles and really save a lot of them from getting stuck in these nets. All right? Well, fantastic. So we've got a lot of great information in here, but now we're actually going to head back out the door, and we're going to go out and we're going to go into the main house so you can see our classroom and some of our other exhibits. Sound good?
Yes.
All right, let's go.
How do the turtles get out?
Well, they're going to keep swimming, and they're going to hit this big metal grate, so keep swimming, keep swimming, keep swimming. Oh, and you get kicked right out of the net. Very good, just like a sea turtle. Nicely done. All right, come on in. Right this way. Addyson, this is the family's old kitchen. So this is the Carpenter House family's kitchen, and you can see they kept it just like it was. So this house was built in 1941, so it's been around here a little while, huh?
Yeah.
But it's really cool to see everything the way it was, and they wanted to do this just to make sure they could keep just how beautiful this home was, even when the family was living here. Pretty cool. So now we're actually going to walk right through here, and this is our little turtle room, all right?
Okay.
All right, Addison, so this is our little turtle room, okay? So we've got a couple of different kinds of turtles in here. These are all ones that have come to us because somebody either couldn't take care of them, or actually one, we showed up and it was sitting on our front door when we got to work in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there a turtle in here like Captain?
That's a great question. And actually there's none that are sea turtles in here, but we have some different kind of turtles. So that's why it's fun to see in here. So over here, this is Clem. This is our diamondback terrapin. So diamondback terrapins are cool because they live not in salt water and not in fresh water, but something we call brackish water. So it's where it's kind of salty, but not quite as salty as the ocean. And you can see they're beautiful with that white head and all the spots and all these beautiful markings on their back. So Clem came to us because somebody found them in the canal behind their house, and Clem wasn't doing very well. So she brought it home, started to take care of it, and once Clem was doing better, she figured that she maybe didn't know how to take care of it very well, so they called the Marine Environmental Education Center at the Carpenter House here, and we were able to go pick it up and set up this great new display and talk about diamondback terrapins, which do live native here in South Florida. But they are very, very cool because they live in that brackish water. All right? So now if we move over here, this is another kind of turtle. This one also lives in Florida naturally. This is called a Florida box turtle. So this is Stella. Stella, she's loving her log right now, just kind of hanging out. But she's one that doesn't live in water. She does live on land, and so we give her a little bit of water so she can kind of soak and get a drink and things like that. But she lives most of her life, you know, on the ground, and she actually will dig down into the ground to make her home. And so that's why we have this little log here, because that lets her kind of dig in there and feel a little bit like she's at home when she gets inside her log. All right. So Florida box turtle, that's another one. Stella here that does live native in South Florida. And then our last turtle here in this room, you can kind of see him sticking his head up right there. This is a red-eared slider. So this is Cashew. Cashew is the one that showed up on our front porch. He came in here about this big, little tiny guy. And we called him Cashew because he was in a mixed nut container sitting right on our front porch when we got to work. All right, so it's kind of fun. But it's another great, you know, animal for us to have here at the center, because while red-eared sliders do live here, they're not native. So we talk about the lionfish outside. Those are invasive species because they come here. There's a lot of them, and they're actually hurting some of the animals that are supposed to live here. Cashew is a non-native kind of turtle. So they live here, but they're not really doing any damage. So they're, you know, they do all right, but they're not usually living in this area. They usually live a little bit further up in the country, up towards Georgia and places like that, a little bit further north. All right? So he's a lot of fun. And we do have some Plecostomus in here as well. These are those big fish in the bottom. So if you have any aquariums at home, those are the algae eaters that we usually put in the aquariums to kind of keep them clean. Well, those we also have in a lot of our canals down here because people release them from their aquariums, and they do very well. And so like Cashew, who is non-native turtle, those are non-native fish that now live here in South Florida, even though they're not really supposed to. All right? Very cool. So now, let's head into the living room here, and we can talk about our classroom area.
What are these?
Ooh, that's a good question. So this is a sea urchin. So just like you might see out in the ocean, this is a different kind of sea urchin. This one was came from really deep in the ocean, but we were very fortunate to have one of our professors at NSU allow us to have these so we can show them off here to people that come into the center. So yeah, that's a sea urchin that's, you know, actually came from really deep water, so they're kind of cool. You can see its little mouth right there in the bottom. We actually have a sea urchin over here that we have in the aquarium that you can see here in just a second as well. All right, let's go check out the classroom. All right. So this is where we actually bring school groups and people like that in to learn about our environment. So things like sea turtles, sharks, coral reefs. Right now we're actually setting up a new exhibit. So when we do open up, everybody come on down because we've got some new exhibits that we've set up while we've been shut down. And this is going to be a lionfish tank. So just like we had that video outside, we're going to have some live ones in here. So right now the tank is just getting ready so that we can put those fish in there. So it's pretty cool. Let's go take a look. All right. So this is a sea urchin, just like you saw in the jar over there. This is a long spine sea urchin that we have that lives right here in South Florida as well. So you can see that little orange and white dots on their head. And he's actually going around and just munching all the algae growing on that piece of coral, that old piece of coral right there. All right. So we got a couple little damselfish in there as well. And that was just to help get the tank ready to go so that we can put lionfish in here hopefully very, very soon. And we're actually working on all the signs and things, so when we do open up, come on down and come see our new exhibits at the center. Okay? So what do you think over here? These are some pretty cool things, right?
Yes.
So one of the things that we do is we want to teach people about the different kinds of sea turtles. Okay? So I'll pull this guy out. This is the shell of a green sea turtle. So this is just like Captain. This one's a little bit bigger than Captain. This is almost bigger than you are. But green sea turtles are the second largest of all the sea turtles still alive today. They can get up to about 400 to 500 pounds. You can see they get pretty big. They actually get a little bit bigger than this even, but this is a pretty good size one. All right? So this is the shell of a green sea turtle. We can kind of look inside here. This is just like your backbone. That's the backbone of the sea turtle as well. And what are these right here on you? Your ribs, yeah. So these are the ribs of the sea turtle. They come along and they kind of form part of the shell. And this is that bony shell, that hard shell, like we were talking about. So this is the hard shell turtle, where a leatherback has that real soft shell, and you wouldn't feel quite like this one. All right. These are just something we made to kind of look like coral to sit in the corner over here. So. But we do have some real coral, or the skeleton of a coral as well. So just like we were talking out in the education center, or the education hall, NSU grows corals. And so corals are kind of cool because they are a plant, but they're also an animal. So they grow and they look a lot like a stone. And so we've got this stony, kind of hard coral part that's very, very hard. And then the color that you get on corals is actually a little animal that lives on this called zooxanthellae. Kind of a crazy, weird word, isn't it? And so they'll live on there. So this is just the sort of the stony under part of the coral, and the rest of it is that zooxanthellae, which would give it the color, like you see here, the oranges and blues and greens. That would be the zooxanthellae that live on this part right here. All right. But at NSU, we can take a little tiny piece, we can clip off this end right here, and this will grow a whole new coral just like this one. It'll keep getting bigger and bigger just by taking a little piece and sticking it on a rock. All right? So we also have some skulls over here. So these are skulls of different kinds of sea turtles. This one right here is a green sea turtle. And so just like Captain, we probably won't look this close at Captain's mouth in a little bit here, but we can see how she's going to maybe eat out there. So green sea turtles love to eat greenery. So out in the wild, they eat lots of things like seagrass and algae. And so their beak, they've got these little, they call them serrations, so a little rough spot here. They can use that to cut right through the leaves of the seagrass. Where something like a loggerhead turtle has got a much bigger head, and they crush things like oysters and clams. So their mouth looks a little bit different, and I'll actually go right over here and grab one of those. So both of these turtles, this is the green sea turtle's head, this is a loggerhead sea turtle's head. These animals would be almost the same size. This one might actually be a little bit bigger than this one. So the whole rest of its body is about the same size, but this head is so much bigger. And the reason for that, they've got this nice big flat part here and really strong jaws, and that's how they can actually crush an oyster shell or a clam to get to the meat inside, where the green sea turtle has these little sharp edges that can slice through that grass to have their vegetables for dinner. All right? Very cool.
Dr. What are in the jars?
All right, so we've got some other specimens and different bits and pieces to show kind of what some of these things look like. So this right here is called the scoot of a sea turtle. So the scoots are all the little markings. This is a scoot on the shell. And they actually will grow and expand, and they shed them as they get bigger. And so these are some that would have probably come off of a flipper. As they got bigger, they would shed that. And then in here, this is actually something that's kind of cool. So when we swallow, our food goes down our esophagus. This is the same thing for a loggerhead turtle or a trachea. That's where the food and stuff's going to go in. For the leatherback sea turtles, those really, really big ones, they eat jellyfish for dinner, okay? And jellyfish, the ones they like are pretty big, and what they do, they can grab those jellyfish, they swallow them down, but they don't want to swallow all the extra water as well. And so they have something called papillae, these big, look almost like teeth, but they're kind of soft that go down, and so this jellyfish gets stuck in that, and they can push all the rest of the water out, so they're not getting really full on just water, but they're actually eating the jellyfish that they want. And here, this is some of the little hatchlings. So this is actually one of those leatherbacks we were just talking about. So you can see it looks a little bit different. These ridges down the back, those are sort of bony ridges, but it's softer in between compared to that green turtle and all the other ones that have that hard bony shell like we were talking about. All right?
And what is this?
This is that papillae that I was just talking about. So you can see all these little things look almost like teeth. That's what's going to hold the food as they swallow it and they try to get rid of the water. That's going to hold all their food in their neck so they can't spit it right back out, and then they can get rid of the water and swallow just the food down. So that's the papillae that's inside that we were just looking at. Pretty cool. So what do you think that is?
A shark jaw?
Yeah, exactly. This is a shark jaw. This is actually a tiger shark jaw. And we can tell that by the shape of these teeth. You can see they're kind of serrated. They've got that little edge on them. And this is, you know, tiger sharks can get pretty big. This is actually still a fairly small mouth for those guys. But it's pretty cool to see kind of how they grow. And if we pick this up, what's really cool about sharks is they have rows and rows and rows of teeth. Because sharks always want to have nice sharp teeth ready to catch their dinner. So if they break one or a tooth falls out, just like we might lose our teeth, the next one will roll up and be ready to go in about 1 to 2 days. So they're always replacing. A lot of sharks will have 7 or 8 different rows of teeth, and they make teeth their whole lives. Some sharks can have over 10,000 teeth over their whole lifetime. Wow, right? Would you want to lose 10,000 teeth? No, sounds like a hassle, doesn't it? But sharks are pretty good at it. They can get them right back and ready to go. Perfect, let's go. We're going to go outside now. Actually, we're going to go downstairs and we're going to see where we get Captain's breakfast ready. All right? All right, let's go. Follow me. So this is our behind the scenes area. We don't really bring people in here very often, but this is where we actually get all the food ready for Captain and our other animals, all the little turtles and stuff upstairs. So we've got our fridge right over here. Like we said upstairs, Captain loves greens, right? She loves seagrass and algae out in the wild. Well, here, we don't really have a good stock of seagrass, so she gets lettuce, green peppers, cucumbers, so a nice big salad, all right? So this is what we're gonna have for her breakfast today. And because we wanna make sure Captain's really healthy, do you take your vitamins every day?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, we get Captain's vitamins as well. So she'll get different pills, and this allows her to get all the nutrients and the different things that she needs out of her food that she would normally get out in the wild, but we can't really give her here just with our lettuce because it's not quite the same as seagrass. So we give her a green sea turtle multivitamin, just like you get your multivitamin, so that she's nice and healthy and ready to go. Sounds good? All right, well, let's go outside and let's go give Captain her breakfast because I know she's starving. All right, perfect. We'll probably stop at the aquaponics on the way. So we've got some other animals outside. All right, let's go. All right, so now we're walking around the backyard again. Here you can see some different statues. So this shark, this is actually trash again that we picked up on our beach cleanup just a couple of weeks ago. So this is all trash from right here. And we work with, again, a number of different groups. This was made by Man and Weiss and Free Our Seas and Beyond, another great group here in the Hollywood area. And we do a lot of work with them to kind of teach people about marine debris and the dangers of that out in our ocean. All right, so come on in and we'll go visit Captain. We have that little beak on her, right? Those serrated areas, so we don't really want to get nibbled on by her. And we don't want to touch her really either, because we want to make sure she's nice and healthy and kind of doing her thing. So this is Captain. She's a green sea turtle. So Captain came here in about 5 years ago. And she actually went into captivity, came out of the ocean about 10 years ago when she got hit by a boat. Okay, yeah, so she got hurt pretty good. But what happened when she got hit by the boat, it cracked her shell, and so she had to go into rehab. And she got fixed up at the Georgia Sea Turtle Center in Jekyll Island in Georgia. She spent about 3 years there getting all patched up. And then they tried to release Captain because they thought she was doing really well. They thought she'd be able to go back out in the wild. Which is really what they want to do when they get animals into rehab. They want to get them back out in the wild again. But unfortunately, about 3 weeks after that, she washed back up on a beach again. So what I'm going to do right now is we're going to feed Captain her breakfast. She's trained to come to this little purple dot. So just like you might train your dog to come when you call, this is our call for Captain. We're going to stick this in the water, and she knows it is time for breakfast.
Okay, can she use her back fins?
She usually could, but because of her injuries, she actually doesn't use her back fins very well. She's kind of got some paralysis where she can't use them. She can, she moves them a little bit here and there, but not nearly as well as she used to. All right. So that's also why she doesn't really steer as well as she would like to as well. So we're going to give her green leafy lettuce, romaine lettuce, green peppers, and cucumbers for her dinner. And she also gets a little bit of shrimp, which are her favorite, so we'll save those for dessert to give her a little bit of protein as well. But, so when you give an animal their medicine, they don't always like to take it. So what we do with Captain is we hide it in some of her favorite food, the lettuce. So we're going to put it in here, give her a nice little vitamin sandwich. We'll get that ready. And then she doesn't even know that she's getting the medicine that she needs. She just eats it right up. There you can see she sliced right through that cucumber. That's just like she does with seagrass with that little beak of hers. Yeah, so that water coming out of her nose, just like we talked inside those papillae. So she doesn't want to swallow a big bunch of water every time she eats a bite of food. And so what she does, she gets that food in her throat, and then she pushes that water back out through her nose. That papillae holds all the lettuce and cucumber right in her throat so she can swallow it down when she's done. Very cool. That's a great observation to see that water coming out. Oh, well, she dropped one. Yes, she did. We'll have to go pick that up when we're done and give it to her again.
So, what is this purple one?
So that's just another pill that she gets. So the big reason that Captain is here is because that boat injury, it cracked through her shell and she gets air kind of trapped under the shell and she floats at the surface. So this black thing is actually just a backpack that holds weights. So that allows her to sit in the water like she's supposed to. If she didn't have that backpack on, the back of her shell would be up out of the water floating really high. We kind of call her a bubble butt with that one. But with the backpack, she's really, really comfortable. But this just allows her to not build up so much of that gas inside and have quite so many issues with floating. So, yeah, she gets a couple of different medicines for different reasons. So most of them are different vitamins. Just she wants it. She does love her breakfast. So we feed Captain a bunch of different ways. This with the tongs, so that we know she's getting her medicine and things like that. Trying to make a mess, aren't you? But sometimes we also will put it in feeders that we sink down to the bottom, because most of the time she would be eating seagrass off the bottom of the ocean. So we want her to go down to the bottom like normal as well. And so sometimes we'll put them in feeders like that. Sometimes we'll put them in a big ball that she has to kind of work. So just like your dog, you might put treats in a little Pong toy or something like that they have to roll around and get the treats out of. We do the same thing for Captain with some of her dinner as well. Scratch her back on those, roll around. We've got a number of other toys that we actually will sink down to the bottom. They have maybe brushes on them, stuff like that. We want to make sure she's nice and happy. They are pretty, sea turtles do kind of live on their own in the wild, so it's not like she's lonely, but we do like to make sure she's using her brain and moving around and staying active. So that's why we give her these different toys and different ways to feed her and things like that. All right. All right. Do you want to help me put the rest of her feeder together for the rest of her breakfast?
Yeah.
All right. So what we're going to do now is we've put together lots of different of these toys and feeders that she uses so that she can get down to the bottom and feed like she would out in the wild. So what we want to do is just kind of fill these holes with lettuce or the green peppers. So if you get a couple pieces together like this, you can kind of squeeze this together and you shove it right in the hole. And it makes it like a little...
like this?
Yep, exactly. So put that right in there. Yeah, it's like a little seagrass smorgasbord here for her. We'll just kind of wedge all this stuff in there, different places. Nice big chunk there, huh? Put some right up top. Doing this much when it's comes to food. She'll find all this. Yeah, she doesn't let much get by, that's for sure.
So how big will she get?
So green sea turtles are the biggest of all the hard shell turtles. She can get up to a little over 3 feet long, just her shell, and might weigh up to 400 or 500 pounds. All right,
Wow.
so she'll get pretty big.
Wow.
So she weighs about 65 pounds right now, so she's got a lot of growing to do. She's gonna get a lot bigger here with us.
Oh, you want to see?
Yep, little side one there. All right, so we'll give her this right here, and then the rest we're just gonna throw on top so she can get it right off the bottom, right off on the surface. So thank you very much for helping me put Captain's food together. So now we're gonna feed her. We're gonna put this in the water. It's gonna go down to the bottom, and she's gonna have to dive down and feed a lot more like she would out in the wild. Okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna carry this over, and we'll slide it into the bottom, and she can go and feed right off the bottom. All right? Let's do it. Oh, she knows what's coming. She's ready to go. So just be nice and careful. We're gonna walk this way just a little bit. That's all right. All right, so we're just gonna slide this in the water right here. All right. So now she's gonna have to dive. Oh, she's your best friend now, right? She's like, oh, thank you for breakfast. It's all down there, silly.
Taking the easy stuff first.
Uh-huh. Ooh, she liked your spot there.
You having fun, Addison? Let me see those giggles. You having a good time?
Yeah.
This is awesome, huh?
See, so when they're down in the bottom like that, they feed, and you can't see the water coming out, but she's still pushing that water out of her nose, just like she was spitting water at us.
The bubbles
Yep, exactly. So she still just wants to eat that seed, or the lettuce that we're giving her. She can suck it right in along with a bunch of water and then get rid of the water.
So what kind of water is this?
Ooh, great question. So where do sea turtles normally live?
The ocean.
In the ocean, right? So saltwater. So yeah, this is a saltwater pool, which is really cool. So it's just like out in the ocean for her. And we actually have a place where we can pull the water from a well deep down in the ground. We have salt water there, and we can fill the pool with that. So it makes it nice and easy. And then we can actually go in the back in just a second, and we can see all the filtration. So just like your fish tank at home, we want to make sure the water is clean and healthy for Captain. So we've got a lot of really fancy equipment in the back to make sure the water stays nice and clean, so she's healthy in the water here. So now why don't we go take a look at how we keep this pool clean for Captain with all the filtration.
Okay.
All right. Look at all these pumps. So this is all the filtration, all the equipment that's keeping her pool clean. So these big pumps right here, this great big pipe that's pulling water out of the pool, it goes through these pumps, it goes into these big white things over here, which brings all the, if there's a bit of lettuce left over, it might get sucked through that, get stuck in there. It'll go through this gray tube up here. Just like sunlight might kill some bacteria, UV light, that's a UV sterilizer, so it can kill bacteria in the water as the water goes through there. This guy up here is called a fractionator. It breaks down stuff that's floating at the surface. Those two things over there are heater and chiller, so the water is always about 75 degrees all year round. It's what she loves. So we keep the water nice and comfortable for her. And then this big blue thing here is called a biofilter. So there's little balls that have lots of surface area on them. So there's lots of bacteria in there that help break down some of the toxins and things that are in the water from, maybe when she, missed a little bit of food, it starts to break down, that bacteria is going to break all that down so the water stays nice and clean. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into that.
I want to dump a couple pieces in there.
All right, you can do it. All right, so you want to just throw some of that in there for her? Yep, just like that. She'll find it anywhere in the pool. Coming in right now. Yep, you'll cut right through that. We get a small sheet.
Well, that's when you've done stuff with Kids Zone before, but how is this adventure?
Really fun.
This is really amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
How do you get that off the
Oh, we've got a little hook right here that we'll grab it out, but I'm going to leave it in there because she likes to scratch her belly on it as well. So she uses the toy as well as something to get her food out of it. So I'll leave it in there for a little while today.
She wiped that out, huh? I just realized that.
Oh yeah.
That didn't take long.
Yeah, she doesn't mess around when it comes to her breakfast.
But there is a little bit still in it.
Just a little bit. She'll come back and get that.
Oh yeah. All right, should we go look at aquaponics? All right. Yeah, we'll use that to get that out here in a little bit.
So how do you get out?
Oh, you just push that little button right there. All right. All right, so Addison, now we're going to take a look at one of the ways we actually grow some of Captain's food. So this is called an aquaponics system. All right, so you can see we're growing lettuce up in the top here. These are lights that help the lettuce grow. And this is actually just sitting in water. So there's a little foam thing sitting on water up here. And then so there's a tank of water here and a tank of water down here. If we look in here, we've actually got goldfish and tilapia fish that live in the bottom. So we feed the fish down here, and when they poop and make a mess, that is what is actually making all the stuff grow up here. The nutrients from the fish are making the lettuce grow up top. So it's a nice little system where everything's connected, and it can really show how this all works, right? So this is a great way. You can actually get these to put in your house or in your backyard or your garage. This is a company that we called Aqua Grove that made this, and you can actually have it right at your home to grow some of your own vegetables, lettuce, whatever you want. So very, very cool system. This one has solar panels as well, so it can do most of that all on its own power with the sun.
Wow. Really cool.
Very, very cool. All right, Addison. So this you can see one of the Free Our Season Beyond, Man and Weiss's sculptures. So this is a shark that we've actually taken debris from the oceans and turned into a beautiful piece of art. And this is just to help people understand, you know, what's out there. All of the trash in here, everything that's on this sculpture, all came out off of Hollywood Beach, right here behind the Carpenter House. So it's really important to do your own part. You know, pick up a piece of trash anytime you see it. If you're out there, do those beach cleanups, but you don't have to go to a beach cleanup. You can pick that up anytime you want.
Do sharks eat trash?
Pretty much everything in the ocean eats a little bit of trash. Not on purpose, but just because they don't know what it is. And especially things like plastic bags. They might look like a jellyfish to those turtles or whatever that wants to eat it. But any trash that's out there, something might eat, yeah. Tiger sharks, we saw that jaw upstairs. Tiger sharks we actually call the garbage cans of the sea because they like to eat everything. And they've had ones where they found tires in their stomach, wire in their stomach, all kinds of weird stuff.
Wow.
All right, so we've kind of looked at Captain, and we're gonna go look at a couple more spots here. But here we're just standing in this beautiful backyard. We do have lots of great events here. Sometimes people actually even rent it out for weddings and have their reception right here in the backyard.
Wow.
Pretty beautiful spot for a wedding, isn't it?
Yes.
Absolutely. So what we're gonna do now is we wanna walk right out. You can see we're right on the beach, which is a great thing for us because we can teach people about the beach and about the ocean with it right out our back door.
So, what kind of animals do you find on the shores?
Great question. So we get lots of animals that are supposed to be there. There's lots of amazing shorebirds that live on the beaches. We also have this dune system, which is one of the things that's really important for our coastline because it helps protect not only us, but also the beach. You know, if it's just sand, it's easy to wash away. Where we have all these plants and trees and things, it really sort of makes this a much more stable place. And it does protect us when we have big storms like a hurricane. This will actually protect us if the waves get really high. But if we come out here, you can see we are right here on beautiful Hollywood Beach. And right here off the beach, there is amazing life. There's great snorkeling here. We sometimes will see dolphins swimming by right along the beach here. Obviously sea turtles come in here. Most of them have hatched from this season, but we had a lot of sea turtle nests that were right here, right outside of the Carpenter House as well. So it's a beautiful place and a lot of great life that lives right here in our backyard.
That was awesome.
Good. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was great to have you here at the Marine Environmental Education Center today. You know, if you ever want to come back, bring your classroom with you. We have a lot of great programs, everything about sea turtles, sharks, marine mammals, marine debris. We'll even do lionfish and, you know, like squid dissection sometimes. So if you guys are interested, you should come on back and learn a little bit more about this amazing place and this amazing environment that we've got here.
Awesome.
Sounds great. It was great to have you. Talk to you soon, Addison.
Bye.
I'm Derek.
And I'm Madison.
And we'll see you next time on Kids Zone.
Bye.